Okay, listen up. I'm going to be real brief on this intro here. I just got done adjusting this. I know this looks fairly tight. If this was a swing-armed motorcycle or ATV, this would be extremely tight. This is what I've got for play. It looks tight, but that's what I come up with. Adjusting this rear end is a real okay? It's a I'm going to show you everything that I did, all the mistakes. You just bear with me. If you own one of these quads, you're going to want to watch this video from front to back. But you're supposed to have 6 to 9 millimeter worth of play. Well, that's it. Now, you got to remember that this thing does not go up and down like a normal vehicle. This chain this will always stay like this. As it moves up and down, this chain will never have any play. It's a direct connect with the suspension setup. So yeah, watch this all the way through. Leave a comment if you think this ain't done right. I don't know. This is the best I could get it. All the directions and service manuals are, I mean, it's just it really is. Okay, so let me get in frame. Gotta get in frame. This is why people do this. See? Okay, so we're back again. I'm back again. We're gonna adjust the chain tension on this four-wheeler. I did not tighten the independent rear suspension housing down on the back end. I left it loose, which I really didn't notice until I put the brakes on. So we'll go ahead and tighten that up before we do the chain adjustment itself. So 3 bolts. You only got 3 bolts to tighten on this chain adjustment, and it's vitally important on the IRS model, independent rear suspension, that the chain tension is set properly. Now this four-wheeler has a new chain on this four-wheeler, so when this four-wheeler gets sold, it's going to be vitally important that that chain's going to stretch. And the new owner, if you're watching this, you're going to have to keep an eye on the chain. With the independent rear suspension, the chain on this quad will stay. This is your front sprocket and this is your rear hub. It will stay constant, unlike a swing arm on a motorcycle or a single shock suspension where you have travel on the swing arm, so the chain needs to go up and down. So these IRS models, it's just vitally important that the chain gets set to the tension, and then you really don't have to mess with it. You just need to keep an eye on the tension. So yeah, be pretty easy today, real short video. But I had to turn the computer on that ain't been turned on for a year, and look at the manuals, the service manual on how to do this, because I don't know, I forgot. So yeah, I had to read, you know, reading. I don't get jobs that require reading all day. Oh, gonna have to lift the back end up. Okay, get this in place here. If you're gonna do four-wheeler work, lawnmower maintenance, this thing works great on a Harley. I highly suggest getting one of these lifts. The maximum capacity, I think, is between, this one might be a 500 or 1,000 pound lift here. But I highly advise getting one of these if you're going to use your own. Use your own stuff to try to do some of this maintenance. There's a link for the lift that I'd suggest in the description below. If you could support the channel, that'd be great. If you use an impact on this lift, you want to take it real easy because of the threads. And when we do the chain, this will have to come back down. So what we have to adjust, what I need to tighten here is my 2 nuts here on these brackets here to hold the these brackets hold the carrier to the adjustment bolts. So when I reinstalled the whole housing, I'll throw up a picture of the two nuts here, and these are torqued at 17 foot-pounds, I believe. So we'll get those torqued up, and then we'll just get to adjusting the bolts. So I actually had a company a while back send me this digital torque wrench, 3/8 drive, motorcycle ATV. You don't need a 1/2 inch. So this is just kind of a nightmare to get in here. And on the sprocket side, let me move the camera. On the sprocket side, you have little cuts in your rear sprocket that are just enough, or no, they're not, they're in the housing. They're in the actual housing itself, and basically there's just enough of a cut to go through the sprocket and get to the bolt. If those cuts weren't there, you could never go through the sprocket, so you've got to get it set just right to get these tightened up or removed. Actually, we probably won't need that extension. And I actually can't see. I don't remember if this tool, if it beeps or flashes. What I'm going to do, because both of these are snug, I'm going to go up to the front here and get this one tightened up as well. Then I'll come back and torque it. And they're 13 millimeters. There we go. Okay, I wasn't ready for that, so I actually got to look at that. It beeps, but I think it's flashing too. Yep, green, 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 red. There we go. Do the front one. Probably should have done the front one first. That's all right. Green, green, red, red. There we go. 17 foot-pounds. 13 millimeters. Get this thing lowered now. Okay, so we're getting set up here. What I've done is I moved the carrier all the way back. So this is your adjustment nut, and this is the nut that you're going to push the carrier forward or you're going to pull it back. Right now we're all the way back on the adjustment here. Get zoomed in here. And there's one other nut on the bottom side. That you can't see right now. But what happens is this chain, as this carrier gets rocked back, will start to tighten. So if we go and move the carrier back like so, the chain will start to tighten. But we always want to start from the furthest. And actually, I'm going to put some anti-seize on that nut. On that bolt. As that goes into the carrier, after I completely disassembled this, well, I haven't used this stuff in a long time. This stuff can make a mess too. I'm just going to go on the bottom side here. Actually, what we'll do is I'll pull this out. Back this bolt out. And now I'm going to just put some anti-seize on the back end here. And as this threads in, it'll lubricate that. Just make it much easier in the long run down the road for someone else to adjust. There we go. Let's see what size we need. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and use a gear ratchet here. This is going to tighten the chain up. I don't know if you can see that at a better angle. And what you'll notice is that the chain is moving and tightening. Now, what the manual says is we want 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch of what's called deflection off of the chain. If you don't live in America, it's 6 to 9 millimeters of deflection, of slap on this chain. Okay, so as you can see, the chain, you want to go from about the center point, which would be right in front of the A-arm of the chain for your deflection point, halfway across. So what I'm going to do is, I've got my dad's old micrometer. I'm going to go ahead and move it out to 9 millimeter. And we're going to go to the center of the chain. Well, yeah, okay, we'll be okay. So we are right about here. So we go 9 millimeter above where the little shaft is coming out of the tool. And we only want, from the top of the chain, we're going to go up. So we're above the 9 millimeter from the chain. There's the chain, the top of the chain, up. Actually, we're just about right. I believe, I'll have to go read from the top of the chain. So we're right here at the top to the bottom. And we're right there, actually. So we got 6. No, we need to be tightened up just a little bit more. And we don't need a whole heck of a lot, because that chain, once it starts to get tight, it'll get tight. So we're going to re-zero the tool. We're going to come out to 9 millimeter. Come down Oh, I keep hitting the buttons. That's what's going on. Still not tight enough. I'll tell you what, that's good enough for me. I don't want to over tighten this. That's about 9mm from right there, and pulling the chain up is right there from the top all the way up. I mean, if I've got my tool here that you can't fucking see, right at the top here, and I lift it up, from the top of the chain up is about right. So I'd rather have it loose, a little loose. Right there, look at that. There we go. Okay, so with the chain set here, we're gonna go ahead and tighten those adjuster bolts. Is what I'm gonna do. That just seems like it's a little tight. I'll back it off a little bit. And didn't realize can't get to these nuts. So I am going to have to gear wrench this by hand. And they are a 15mm is what they are. And you'll just have to try to get it torqued down to what you think is 30 foot-pounds is what it says. Have to torque it by hand. Get this top side a little tight, and then we'll go to the bottom side. Actually slits inside of the swing arm here. The swing arm cover to get to these. Oh wow, boy, that'll make things easier. So I actually need an open-ended wrench on that. And to do the bottom bolt, you're going to need two actually open-ended wrenches. Wow, that's a long cocksucker. Look at that. How the hell am I going to do that? Actually trying to turn it in here. Boy, it's a long-winded cocksucker. God. I'm starting to wonder if I put the wrong bolt in the wrong hole here. Wow, this thing is a cocksucker. Now I can get the gear ratchet on it. There we go. My God, holy shit. Well, I'll tell you, that bottom bolt, that's a long-winded cocksucker. I really didn't even want to break a sweat today. This is why people want to read all day for a job. Because sitting down reading is 10 times easier than this shit. Work 10 minutes and break a sweat. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up. So we're going to do the top one here. It's a little easier to get to. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. And I'm just gonna tighten this thing up until I think it's fucking done. The manufacturer has to give you torque specs for everything based on the laws. Just get this dirty cocksucker tightened up. Hell, you can't even get tools in there to get the correct spec. So just tighten it up and get it tight. I'll tell you, I'm starting to wonder what kind of half a retard designed this independent rear suspension. Hell, they only made this thing for like 3 years. No, I should take that back. Till 20, yeah, 3 years. They made this fucking independent rear suspension for 3 years. Fucking retards. Okay, oh my God. I think I just lost my front brakes. Son of a fucking bitch. After we have the carrier tightened, then we're going to come back and do the rear adjuster nut. And that rear adjuster nut needs to be at 20 foot-pounds or 27 Newton meters. And once you have the carrier tightened and you go to tighten this nut, it shouldn't move the chain. But I just lost the front brakes. I had the front brakes locked, and I really didn't trust that goddamn master cylinder I put on. So we're just going to tighten this adjuster now. And it actually moved that chain. That's bad. That means I didn't get all that tight. With that thing moving like that, that means that this did not get tight. Means I gotta reset this. Welcome to the world of mechanics. Okay, so after my epic fail here, let me tell you what I've done. Go ahead and try to get your tension about right. So we're pretty close there. What we're going to do is we're going to tighten our top and lower mounts first and get those as tight as I can get them to hold them, and then we're going to come in and do the adjustment last, but we're leaving a little leeway. So as the adjuster tightens up and gets tight, there's a crush washer here, you'll see it crush, then we'll be in spec. You can hear this is starting to slap the protector on the bottom, the plastic one, which has given me enough space that I'll be able to adjust off of the adjuster. So bear with me here. Because I can't get them no tighter than that. This one here. I'll get this one as tight as I can get it. Might have to get another bar. I definitely lost the front brakes. I think we're going to be good on that. I can't get that adjusted to where they want it because it's going to pull the carrier in. And I don't believe that carrier is going to move with how tight I got it. But unless someone else has got a tip for me, leave in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm saying that this is good. So we're a little past under 9mm now, but there's enough slack there that we're not going to break teeth off of those sprockets. So this is a nightmare.